Okay, apparently we're gonna just start recording now. Apparently my phone just made other plans and just started recording for no reason. Who's in here? Who's trying to get my attention? Why are we recording before I'm ready? Let's get this show on the road. Welcome to Freaked Out with your psychic medium host, Liz. Today we will be covering the case, the situation of Bam Margera. There was recently a documentary that came out on Max called The Curious Case of, and yes, Natalia Grace used to be it, but they now have a bunch of other cases that they're also looking into, and Bam Margera being one of them. So I figured we'd go down the list of what they cover. At least if I find the episodes interesting, we'll cover all of the unanswered questions for everybody. It has been one hell of a week. I am avoiding the Super Bowl like the plague. So anyone asking about Super Bowl related questions, I have zero interest in it. I am not engaging in any of that. If you ask me, I feel like the game is rigged right at this moment, and I think the Chiefs are going to take it home one more time. And that is not a prediction. That is just how I feel on what is going on in the world. All of these weird things are happening. Even the Mike Tyson and Logan Paul fight, I feel like that was rigged. I just can't even stress on how we're being taken advantage of and how much money these people are pulling in. It's ridiculous. But I do want to say that when it comes to Felon 47, I feel like we're finally taking those steps to make it happen. So if you have not watched the Felon 47 video on the exclusive side of this YouTube channel, highly recommend it. Now, I get many people asking in the comments how to go about. Well, there's a few ways. If you have an Android, if you become a subscriber, click the subscriber button. That will automatically make you a subscriber. You're watching here. It should show you a membership button as well. If it does not, that's okay. I have many links on Facebook that I've put up, but also if you go on a computer, it is super easy because you go right directly to the page and you can become a member there. So I hope this helps. Please let me know if you were able to figure it out. If not, come to the Facebook group and we can help you out over there. I know Facebook isn't a big thing, but it is at least helpful when it comes to leading people in a direction rather than in the TikTok comment section. That's not fun. All right, what is coming soon? I am currently working on 3 episodes as it stands right now. We've got Luigi Part 1, which is something I'm taking my time with, so it may take a minute for that one to come out. I have Liam Payne on the docket as well, and then I am also covering the case of the girl who died twice, which is also in the same Curious Case of documentary series. So if you guys are interested, please make sure to like this video. It helps go a long way. Really appreciate you guys being here. And next week as well, we'll be recording the real life Squid Games with Landon. So that will also be something you can enjoy next week. All right, let's get into Bam Margera. So in case you guys don't know who he is, because to be honest, I didn't know who he was. I'm not a Jackass kind of fan or a skater fan or anything like that. So there really wouldn't be any reason for me to know who he was, but Landon loved him. He doesn't anymore, but he used to love this guy so much and would watch him all the time. So he was very familiar with him. So when I started telling him about me covering this case, we got to talking about it. Now, as you guys may or may not know, he was actually a professional skater. He did more like stunt performing. He did filmmaking, television personality, and then he really gained a widespread fan base in the early 2000s because he ended up being an MTV star and was on the show Jackass. And there were also spin-off shows as well, where they would perform outrageous stunts and pranks. And it was really just a young guy's ideal energy. I know for me that a lot of the boys that I used to hang out with loved to do these random stunts. I'm assuming it's because of this show. Even though I didn't watch it, I didn't even know it existed, really. Honestly, I have a hard time with people breaking bones and getting hurt. I watch wrestling, I know, but different situation. I can handle wrestling. But when people do crazy, outrageous stunts like that, it gets me queasy and I can't even stomach it. I hate when people talk about their medical issues. It makes me sick to my stomach. I actually start to get faint a little bit because I can feel it. In addition to his TV work, he did independent films like Haggard and Mind Hags. And then sadly, in the recent years, as many others have also had issues with, Bam faced some serious personal struggles, including his battle with addiction and legal issues. And it has been something becoming quite public and widely spread. Now, despite those challenges, because he's a man, he has remained an iconic figure in pop culture, especially amongst fans in skateboarding and extreme sport entertainment. Now, this episode that actually came out on The Curious Case of, he was involved with a company by the name of Aura, where they take like virtual reality software and help people with mental health and addiction issues. I will say that although it's a good try and a good attempt to come up with other methods to assist people with mental health problems, because it is true, rehabilitation is lacking. We're not really putting forth enough effort into the rehabilitation of people. From what I feel, there will eventually be some alternative methods for people who struggle with the rehab side of things, but we got to make those steps one way or another, right? With that being said, it's obviously not something that is hidden from the world that Bam has a major drug addiction. And although he's not actively in a crisis, it's pretty bad. And they decided to bring forward, a few different experts to help him out and different approaches of handling his addiction. Now, the woman who owned the company Aura, her name is actually Lima, and she ended up becoming Bam Margera's guardian in 2021, which, handing that kind of power off to someone very quickly, that's pretty scary, actually. I couldn't imagine just being like, okay, stranger off the street, here, you're going to help me, so you now get to make all my decisions for me. Pretty scary. Now, she has this virtual reality software, as we were talking about. She was not really getting paid for it either. She was more so just using Bam to promote it. She was also filming, and obviously there was some sort of payout somewhere. Now, she does have her own story, and she talks about her sisters, and there were some very bad men in her family that did some pretty bad stuff. And she wants to help people with mental health a lot. And I do believe it is genuine. She's hoping to make a buck off of it too. But I do believe that her intentions are at least good. Now, according to Lima, no one wanted to be Bam's guardian, but she took it on. And from what I can see, she didn't necessarily have any sort of credentials to even go forward and do something like that, which is difficult. I wish she had put some education behind her just so that things could look a little bit better on paper for her. She also had this software that, it's great in theory. I don't really even think it's great in theory, but it's like she thinks it will work and help them. So in her mind, putting them in the middle of the street and where there's temptations all around the person and getting them to say no to the drugs or alcohol in the game isn't really going to help them in their everyday. When I play a video game, like let's just say The Sims, because it's a simulation, when I'm playing that game, I'm not, doing things I normally would do on a regular basis. It's not reality. So I get the consensus behind it, but I certainly don't think it would have ever worked one way or another. From the sounds of it, Bam was just sick and tired of the regular, normal rehabilitation crap that he didn't want to deal with. That's kind of the energy I get from him on it. So he was looking for something different. Although he might be struggling mentally right now, I actually feel like he's making some good progress, and I hope he continues to do so. Now, Bam has a house that he calls Castle Bam, which, wow, I saw it recently. I think it's great. I I'm hoping they actually turn it into what they plan to do with it. Now, Castle Bam is actually located in West Chester, Pennsylvania, and it was renovated completely by Bam, including like a skate park. They have a BMX bike track with a music studio. It's also known for its like Gothic interior, which is really cool. Medieval decor, including like purple walls and iconic logos. Now, recently, Bam's mother, April, has taken steps to renovate it, make it like an Airbnb to help offset the cost of maintaining it. I mean, of course. Now, in the documentary, he had stated while he was in the documentary that he wasn't allowed in there. He actually recently made, a comprehensive house tour and the castle, sharing like stories and featuring it on YouTube. So I don't think that that's accurate as of right now. Unfortunately, when it comes to his family, I don't feel like they truly understand how to handle Bam and were truly desperate to get him assistance, because I don't know if the diagnosis has been put forth or not, but I feel like he's got about 3 or 4 mental health diagnoses. And I feel like bipolar being one of the heavier ones, the more difficult one for them to deal with. And I think that's also his darkest one as well. Now, going back to the software and the company called Aura, they did have some test subjects with a woman by the name of Amanda. If you want to go take a watch, you can actually see Amanda. She was an addict. She started to get better, and then she ended up dying. Now, something Lima did, which she probably should not have done. She went out into the world and talked about what happened to Amanda. She made some suggestions about seizures. And from what Amanda said when I tried to channel her, she didn't have anything bad to say about Lima. Like, Lima was incredibly nice to her. And she doesn't feel like Lima's to blame for her death because she went heavy into drugs. So much so that her brain, most of it was not even salvageable. She had the mindset of a child right before she passed on. She wasn't getting anywhere. She didn't feel like she was getting anywhere. She does wish she had made better choices, and she does want to defend Lima and say that she did put effort into helping her. But again, Lima came up and said all of these crazy things that were not accurate on how she died. And it was because Lima was trying to make it seem like her company wasn't the reason that Amanda ended up dying. And instead of being honest about it, she came out and said all of these things, which makes her unreliable. She thought she was doing it to protect her own ass. She did not want this to interfere with her current projects. She had something big in the works, and she was afraid that it would mess things up. I know everyone blames Lima for Amanda's death, but I don't feel like she's responsible. She does, however, really cause her own problems, though. And she still, to this day, has not told anyone why she lied. And I think she just needs to come clean and do it. I think it would really, really help her family a lot and stop being harassed on a day-to-day basis. I also want to point out that the FDA did not approve her method either. Now, what's so bad about the software? Again, I don't really think it's a bad software. It's just not going to help anybody. I think that there are other methods. I even believe that hypnosis is probably an even better method for people who are going through their own rehabilitation to give a try. When it comes to hypnosis, I just feel like there's a way to get in there and unlock those issues to help you. But that's nor here nor there at the moment. And the documentary didn't really talk about the inner workings of the software, which probably means they didn't have a lot of detail about it either. So yeah, I think she just kind of one day was like, you know what, I'm going to make this a fun, exciting experiment, and we're going to do this and we're going to make it happen. And it flopped, but she continued to carry on with it anyway and tried to make it seem like she was really helping people. Now, was she helping people? Yes. But was the software helping people? No. There's another person connected to this story. There is a woman by the name of BJ. Now, BJ is a lawyer, and she's got that Legally Blonde vibe. She loves, talking about a lot of the celebrity type of cases. She really focuses and hones in on any sort of like any assisted guardianship like Britney Spears with her father. Either way, BJ really came at Lima on her channel, and a lot of people have been attacking Lima and her family. Like, it is one hell of a mess. But I also believe that BJ is not completely inaccurate on the things happening there as well. When it comes to Lima, Lima will step on anyone to get ahead. And I believe that, yes, her sisters were abused, and they're twin sisters. And I think she was abused too, but the sisters couldn't mentally handle it and have gone down a very dark path. Same as Bam Margera, but they weren't as rich and famous, of course. So they didn't have all of the extras that Bam may have had the opportunity to have. There was a lot of indications that Lima and her family were, putting these girls in sex trafficking things, where these girls were put in sex trafficking rings. I do believe that when the twins were younger, they were associated with sex trafficking ring. Like, I feel that heavily, but I don't feel like that's happening right now. I also agree with BJ that this is not the best appropriate method for Bam. And I do believe it's okay for her to express her, concerns about it. But making an entire account and just making like over 300 videos about it, that's a little excessive. I don't think she needed to take it as far as she did, because when you have fans and they are so hardcore, and you send them off to bully people, they'll do it. And I feel like that was completely unnecessary. And I hope things have changed since then. I feel like it has, but I hope that BJ goes in a different direction, because I do believe a lot of what she says about certain things, like Britney Spears' father having that conservatorship, like, I agree with her on a lot of those things. So I hope that she continues to let that one go and just continue to make content about more relevant cases, like even Amanda Bynes. Now, that would be a good topic, because she is also in a conservatorship, and I feel bad for what she's dealt with. Now, there was an accusation made by BJ about Lima connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Is there any truth behind that? If I'm going to be honest, I feel like there is. I feel like there is a connection. Now, not because of Lima. I don't feel like Lima specifically was associated with putting her sisters in any sort of sex trafficking Epstein thing. I just believe that they were part of the Epstein side of things. I feel like that ring associated with Epstein had these girls in it. And I think that because the father or the stepfather, I'm not really sure which male it is, but I see a male figure being like, you can have these girls for your sick and disgusting, perverted wishes, but they need to come back home. So they were trafficked, but they also got to get home rather than staying with the perverts and being kidnapped. Although I feel like there were moments where they almost were kidnapped. But these poor girls, they know that there are videos of them as young children out in the black market. And I feel like that is what is traumatizing them, and they cannot get past it. I also feel like they're not expressing exactly what happened. They talk to each other about it, but no one else. There's one sister, Delia, who is worse off than the other sister. And I am afraid that if she continues to keep going down this path, she's not going to be around very much longer. I see that they're both broken, but she's more broken. Then I feel like if the one sister goes, the other one will. So guys, we just got to make sure we leave these people be and let them heal, but just know that they are not bad people. All right, moving back to Bam Margera. Now, as of 2025, he's actually not under any conservatorship or guardianship, which is great. In a 2022 statement, his family clarified that he had actually never been under a conservatorship. It was more so a temporary health care guardianship to support his sobriety. Now, in January of 2023, it was reported that any such legal arrangements had been concluded. It also indicated that Bam faced a lot of legal issues, including a court-ordered addiction evaluation. And that was of September of 2024. I do believe that he manages to be okay, but I feel like something may happen if he gets triggered, because he gets triggered very, very, very easily. Even like one fight with one person, a small little mini conflict can set him off. Now, Bam had actually assaulted his brother. He was basically able to get away with it as long as he provided drug tests, and then they basically let him go, including no association with any sort of temporary guardianship. Now, after all this happened, when the court order situation took place, Lima went back up to meet with Bam and contacted the police because she was afraid he was going to do something. I really believe she was trying to trigger him because she was hoping that she'd be able to continue to sneak her way into it. Now, she claimed that he had made threats, but in reality, he didn't. She does definitely play the victim card to her advantage, and people listen. That could be dangerous too. She also knew that if, there was an issue where he was triggered, that he could land himself in jail. And I think she was trying to set that off too. I think she was really just trying to hold on to anything so that she could hold on to basically her biggest client, because nobody else wanted to work with her at this point. But thankfully, she is no longer in Bam's life. And I don't think she's ready to help people in large mental health crises. She really needs to go back to school and learn how to handle people in a crisis, because he has a lot of demons in his closet and a lot of those things he can't cope with or comprehend. I do believe he's been assaulted many times in his life, and people have used him for money. He's felt pressure from certain family members, not all. He doesn't know who his true friends are. He questions everyone around him, like his girlfriend or his wife or anyone. Like, he struggles. He also has a child, and I do see that he makes a lot of good new efforts towards this kid. He does have some really good people in his life, and he has eliminated a lot of the people that have triggered him. There are certain people that he worked with on Jackass that really, really triggered him still, but I feel like that is all under control now. Now, when it comes to his son, although his ex-wife does have technically the full custody, they have decided to keep Phoenix, his son, off social media, which I mean is a great idea for many different reasons. You don't want that kid to go down that same path. I do believe that Phoenix has suffered through a lot of trauma between his mom and his dad, but I ultimately see that he'll turn out pretty okay as he gets older. Now, obviously, money and fame is a huge piece of why addicts become addicts, but you don't even really need the fame to become an addict. I also keep seeing something associated with Bohemian Grove. There are many people that I've seen associated with Bohemian Grove that have been molested as children, young adults, seduced, made to do things to get certain gigs. And I feel like Bam is part of that list of people. If you guys want to know what the Bohemian Grove is, take a look and look it up. We'll cover it one day on this channel. I just don't have time to do it today. But it is a subdivision of the Illuminati, basically a place where people go more so to hurt boys and young men. There are servers there. Females do get molested and touched there too, but it's mostly for the boys. There's like this big manhunt game that they do. They give the kids drugs and then make them run off into the abyss and chase them down. It's pretty intense. I think they used to do these things on Epstein's Island as well. When it comes to Bam, I feel like death is looming around him. I feel like if he has like one or two more of these instances, because he cannot afford them, he will no longer be with us. And I don't talk about death, but it's just something I see above him, and I hate talking about those things. And I'm hoping that he gets himself on the right tracks to avoid this path, because it's avoidable. I also see that if he decides to not go down that direction, he can make so many good choices. And I feel like once he feels better about himself, he's going to give back to the community. And I feel like he will take his money and do that. Now, some of his family members will not be happy about his idea of doing that, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it would help release him as well. Now, when it comes to Lima's company, Aura, it ceased to exist. But I feel like she's going to come back and she's going to do something new. I don't believe it's going to be anything associated with technology or a virtual reality game, but it will be something in and around that topic. So she'll try to come back with something new. And I see that she'll try to obtain the attention of another high profile celebrity, but I don't know if she'll gain access or not. We'll see how it goes. As it stands right now, no. But if she really pushes, it's a possibility. Lima also has filed a liability suit against BJ, and it's still pending. I feel like this case is going to end up getting dropped completely. I don't feel like anything's going to happen there. Now, when it comes to Bam, I don't know why, but I see another relationship. Maybe it's the current person he's with, but maybe they'll take it to the next steps and get married. I am seeing another child coming into his life as well. But I also feel like this is the year to prove. If he can make it through 2025 without going down this dark road, I think he'll be okay. I think he'll also share his story with us, and I think he needs to. I think it would be very therapeutic for him to write down all of the emotions. Even if he doesn't share every single aspect, I think it would help him out a lot. I feel like he was given an opportunity with his career because of something he may have done. I feel like he was assaulted by someone pretty significant in the TV and filming industry, maybe even someone associated with MTV. And I feel like that is something he deals with inside and he doesn't release it. He may have shared those details with people, but I just feel like it's pretty significant. And honestly, I feel like he was approached by the Illuminati at some point, but I don't feel like he took the bait for it. There are other things, though, too. He's also been approached by others to try to make the world better, but he's not mentally well enough to do that. But one day, I think that Bam could possibly have a much better outcome if he allows 2025 to be the year he takes care of himself. That's going to be tough with the way the world is going. But I don't know if Chester Bennington knows him directly. I've never looked any of that up. It's possible. But he was around a lot when I was doing the channeling session with Bam Margera. So I'm assuming maybe he's just being a supportive spirit in the background. I love Chester. He's a great one. He doesn't come around very often, but when he does, I think he really feels bad for the people that are struggling with addictions within Hollywood. Like he really, really hones in on those spirits. He was also someone associated with Liam Payne too. He was there for him too. But we'll talk about that on the Liam episode. But anyways, guys, that is all I have for today on Bam Margera. Definitely going to be back here very soon for Luigi and Liam Payne and so much more coming your way. I cannot wait to continue to keep sharing with you guys. I appreciate you being here. And make sure to stay freaked out.